It has truly revolutionized the way we connect across the globe. But while this has opened incredible opportunities, it's also brought about unsafe spaces, especially for children. Children are often targeted and become victims of online sexual abuse, which remains a serious global issue. But that's where organizations like Internet Watch Foundation come in, working with international partners in government, law enforcement, reporting hotlines, charities, and tech communities. They strive to stop illegal images of children from being circulated repeatedly online. Joining us to help us understand a bit better the nature of their work is Marina Madale, who's Executive Head for Sustainability and Shared Value with the MTN Group, a tech giant, of course, in the country, and joins us now via our video link. Marina, thanks very much indeed for your time. I hope I pronounced your surname correctly. It's great to have you on the SABC News channel.
Thank you so much for having me and for speaking about this very important matter.
All right, there seems to be a bit of feedback, Marina. I'm hoping we'll be able to sort that out throughout the duration of our discussion. Very important issues, of course, to be ventilated about the collaboration that can take place between companies, charity organizations, governments, all in an effort to make sure that there isn't a spreading of these illegal images. Help us place your organization's role in this.
Thank you so much. I think it's firstly important to note what is the reality of what we're dealing with. So if you look at 2030, 500 million users are going to join online, and that's 500 million children and young people that are going to be coming online by 2030. Now, when you look at a partner like Internet Watch Foundation that MTN partners with, 90% of the child sexual abuse material that they come across is from children as young as 13 and younger. So the reality is that this is happening more and more across our continent, across our country, and we need to do more. So obviously MTN, being a Pan-African organization and mobile operator, our focus is really on ensuring that we lead digital solutions for Africa's progress. And we recognize that connectivity needs to come hand in hand with connectivity, or else you're actually not seeing progress. So as an organization, we have a very deliberate program called Help Children Be Children. Our program is around how do we take many different approaches to protect children online. Some of the key elements include blocking child sexual abuse material off our network. As an example, we scan an average of 160 million sites on an annual basis. And from those, we actually find that 50 to 60 million contain child sexual abuse material, and we actually remove it off our network. Another important part is really around reporting. And I think it's something that's not spoken enough about and that most people don't know. We actually fund and support different reporting portals, such as the Internet Watch Foundation one, and we actually launched an Africa portal about a year ago. And what we're finding, and it's so easy for users, they can either report anonymously, or they can be able to report using their details because they want to receive feedback. Internet Watch Foundation then reviews those images. So it can be a photograph, a video, whatever you pick up online that leaves you uncomfortable, you can then be able to report it and it can be taken off.
Yeah.
And the police can be able to investigate and the likes.
Right. Of course, the work that's been done sounds really promising, but I'm sure you'll agree that the wider we can cast this net, the better. It's no use, for example, that MTN can have these initiatives where ultimately this material is removed. But if there aren't more partnerships to ensure that other parts of the dark web where perhaps MTN doesn't reach are also prohibited from doing this, the action might seem a bit futile. What conversations, if any, are taking place to have other tech giants, for example, come on board?
Yeah. So I think first and foremost, quite recently, we actually had released a program called Room of Safety. And why Room of Safety was important, it was about having young people, speaking to young people about the real experiences that they're having, because peer-to-peer influence is still an important part. And additionally, it's important for parents to be aware of what exists out there. And what you actually pick up is that young people are 9 to 10 times more likely to experience risky online behavior just simply because parents don't set rules and the likes. So as MTN, we recognize that this challenge is so big. As one operator, we're not going to be able to address it. So we've actually been working with many other organizations. And as an example, in October of next month, we will be in partnership with GSMA, which is the sector body, and UNICEF, launching the Africa Child Online Protection Task Force. That task force has very deliberate focus areas looking at legislation, how do we ensure legislation protects children online, as well as reporting portals I've already spoken about, and then also very importantly, embedding child online safety into the curriculum in schools, because if we don't take it to schools, we can't make systemic change and ensure that children can be children.
Yeah, and I suppose you've answered my next question. I mean, I see with the information I have at my disposal, the Global System for Mobile Communications Association predicting that by 2030, about 500 million under 18s will be operating online. I cannot imagine. That's such a different world to the one I grew up in. And it certainly does make it a whole lot more urgent for us to start shifting our focus about how these individuals and their guardians are equipped to be mindful of, the dangers of actually being active participants in the online space.
You're so correct. I think we need to speak about AI and emerging technologies. You're actually seeing more and more young people, well, young and old, turning to AI chatbots, companions, and the likes. And what you're finding is that it's useful. It helps with schoolwork, university work, and so forth. But you're also starting to find there's a darker side to it. And I think there's many examples of young people that have turned to AI companions and so forth, and actually found online and risky behaviors. You're actually finding them asking the AI to give them techniques or ways that they can commit suicide, and ultimately they take on the guidance and advice. So it's actually the call to action to young people and everyone is, how do you apply judgment in the use of AI and make sure that the safety measures by design is incorporated. And as MTN, we're intending to really grow, our use of AI, but we want to make sure that it's done in a safe manner, and so that the power of technology can be properly used.
Yeah, it'd be remiss of us, Marina, not to speak about that landmark judgment from the High Court back in July, which involved the digital law company essentially ordering Meta, that's the parent company of platforms like Instagram and WhatsApp, to remove certain, I think they're called channels, that open children up to things like sexual exploitation. How do cases like that assist the kind of work that you're doing?
Yeah, I think the big thing is we need to firstly acknowledge that legislation needs to move as fast as technology is moving, because it becomes harder and harder to regulate in an environment where there isn't enough legislation. And I think, as an example, 36 out of 54 African countries actually have privacy-based legislation that touches on some elements of protecting children online. But we need to see it evolve. We need to see it deepen. We need to see cross-border transfer of best practice of legislation. And that's critical. So cases like that show the importance of content moderation, the importance of safety by design principles, and the fact that everyone needs to learn and evolve together to ensure that we're systemically addressing the type of evolving risks that are taking place, and are taking place at a far faster pace because technology is evolving along with it.
Marina Madale, thanks very much indeed for speaking to us. Really appreciate it. Such an important discussion. Marina is the Executive for Sustainability and Shared Value at MTN. Once again, appreciate the time.